Prime wasn't lucky. Nike wasn't lucky. Starbucks wasn't lucky. The businesses behind these products understand something incredibly important: the market. Welcome to Topic 1 of Edexcel AS Business. In this video, we're going to learn how businesses identify customers, compete against rivals, grow market share, and adapt to changing trends. We'll also look at how Edexcel tests these concepts in the exam, because knowing the content is only half the battle. By the end of this lesson, you'll understand the key concepts from the chapter and know exactly how to turn that knowledge into marks. Before we jump in, here's our game plan. We're going to start by understanding what a market actually is. Then we'll look at the difference between mass and niche markets, one of Edexcel's favorite topics. After that, we'll explore market size, market growth, and market share. We'll also discuss branding and dynamic markets, which explain why some businesses thrive while others disappear. And finally, we'll finish with what most students skip: how Edexcel actually tests these topics and the techniques examiners want to see in your answers. So let's get started. Let's start with a question. Why did everyone suddenly want Prime? Why are people carrying Stanley Cups everywhere? And how on earth did Crocs become cool again? These aren't random events. They're all examples of businesses operating in markets. And understanding markets is one of the very first things you need for AS Business. By the end of this video, you'll understand mass and niche markets, market size, market share, branding, dynamic markets, and, most importantly, how Edexcel likes testing these topics in the exam. When people hear the word market, they often imagine a place with fruit stalls and people shouting prices. But in business studies, a market is much broader than that. A market is any situation where buyers and sellers come together to exchange goods and services. Amazon is a market. The gaming industry is a market. The coffee industry is a market. Even TikTok Shop is a market. Markets can be physical, like a shopping mall, or virtual, like an online store. The key thing Edexcel wants you to remember is that markets exist whenever buyers and sellers interact. This is one of the most important concepts in the chapter. Imagine you're starting a business tomorrow. You've got two choices. You can try to sell to everybody, or you can sell to a very specific group. A mass market targets a large number of customers with similar needs. Think Coca-Cola. They aren't targeting a tiny group. They want students, teachers, parents, grandparents, athletes, and office workers all buying the same product. That's mass marketing. A niche market is different. A niche market focuses on a smaller group of customers with specialized needs. For example, oat milk originally targeted consumers who were vegan, lactose intolerant, or environmentally conscious. Now here's what Edexcel loves asking: advantages and disadvantages of niche markets. Advantages include less competition, greater customer loyalty, the ability to charge higher prices. However, niche markets also have disadvantages. The customer base is smaller. Growth opportunities may be limited. And if customer tastes change, the business could struggle. Imagine building your entire business around selling fidget spinners. That seemed genius in 2017. Not so much now. So remember, mass market equals large audience. Niche market equals specialized audience. Businesses don't just care about customers. They also care about how big the market is. Market size refers to the total sales in a market. There are two ways to measure it. First is value. This measures the total money spent. For example, the gaming market might be worth $200 billion. Second is volume. This measures the number of units sold. For example, 50 million phones sold. Edexcel likes asking students to distinguish between value and volume. Don't confuse them. Value equals money. Volume equals quantity. Markets don't stay the same forever. Some grow rapidly. Some shrink. Some disappear completely. The smartphone market exploded because of innovation. The plant-based milk market grew because consumer preferences changed. Electric vehicle markets are growing because of environmental concerns and government policies. When Edexcel asks why a market is growing, these 5 reasons will answer most questions. Innovation, income changes, demographics, fashion and trends, government action, Learn these because they come up repeatedly. Businesses obsess over market share. Why? Because it tells them how competitive they are. If your market share is increasing, you're usually outperforming competitors. If it's falling, competitors are taking customers away. A growing market share often leads to higher revenue, stronger brand recognition, and greater influence within the market. This is one of Edexcel's favorite calculations. Market share measures how much of the market belongs to a business. Let's imagine the trainer market is worth £100 million. Nike sells £20 million worth of trainers. Its market share is 20%. Simple. A high market share often suggests that a business is performing strongly compared with competitors. And yes, you absolutely need to memorize this formula. Many students think a brand is simply a logo. It's much more than that. A brand is the image and identity consumers associate with a product. When people buy Apple products, they aren't just buying technology. They're buying the brand. The same applies to Nike, Starbucks, and Coca-Cola. Strong brands create recognition. Recognition creates trust. Trust increases sales. And that chain of reasoning is exactly the kind of analysis Edexcel wants to see. A dynamic market is simply a market that changes over time. Consumer tastes change. Technology changes. Competition changes. 20 years ago, DVDs were huge. Today, streaming dominates. The businesses that survive are the ones that adapt. Businesses that ignore change often lose market share and eventually disappear. When markets change, businesses must respond. This often involves conducting market research, developing new products, improving branding, or targeting new customer groups. The businesses that adapt usually survive. The businesses that don't often become case studies in what not to do. Now let's look at how this chapter appears in exams. This is a classic 4-marker. Many students write, a niche market has less competition. And stop. That's not enough. Let's talk about one of the easiest ways to pick up marks in Edexcel Business. Many students see a 4-mark question and immediately start writing everything they know. That's usually where things go wrong. For most 4-mark explain questions, Edexcel is looking for what I call the KA chain. Knowledge. Show the examiner you know the business concept. Application. Apply it to the business or scenario in the question. Analysis. Explain the consequence. In other words, answer the question. So what happens next? Let's look at an example. Explain one benefit of operating in a niche market. Knowledge. A niche market targets a small group of customers with specific needs. Application. For example, a business selling gluten-free dog treats focuses on a specialized customer group. Analysis. Because there is less competition, the business may attract loyal customers, leading to higher sales and profit. Notice what happened there. We didn't just give a definition. We explained the business impact. And that's where the analysis marks come from. A quick tip, whenever you think you've finished your answer, ask yourself, so what? If you can add one more business consequence, you're probably moving closer to full marks. Most students don't lose marks because they don't know the content. They lose marks because they stop too early. Always ask yourself, so what? If market share increases, so what? If branding improves, so what? If customers become loyal, so what? Keep following the chain. Before you leave, I want you to realize something. Everything we've discussed today isn't just business studies. It's the reason some products become household names while others disappear. Every successful business understands its customers. They know which market they're targeting. They track their market share. They build strong brands. And most importantly, they adapt when the market changes. Think about the products you use every day. Your phone, your trainers, your favorite coffee shop, your favorite app. None of those businesses became successful by accident. They succeeded because they understood the market better than their competitors. And that's exactly what you've started learning today. So the next time you see a product suddenly become popular, don't just think, wow, that's gone viral. Think, what happened in the market to make that happen? That's business thinking. In the next lesson, we'll move on to market research and discover how businesses gather information before making important decisions. Because before businesses can win customers, they first need to understand them. I'll see you in the next lesson.